Hello. Thank you all for being here. I'm Harvey Pranian, Harvey's daughter. I probably don't need to be this close to the mic, do I? Can you hear me? All right? Okay. Back row? Great. Well, thank you so much for coming. It's really wonderful to see so many people that I know. It's been a lot of years, and some that I have not met before, but I've gotten to hear a lot about my dad in the last few months, so just really blowing my mind about the type of person he was in the public versus being his daughter. So it's pretty cool. So just a couple of housekeeping items. We have, there's bathrooms in around the lobby. There's also bathrooms down those stairs there. Yeah. How about now? This is my daughter, Callie. And Callie has requested to be up here with me, so that's pretty special. So afterwards today, we're hoping that you might join us for some coffee and baklava, which for those who don't know, I hope you do, but that is an Armenian dessert, and would love to have you at the reception afterwards. We do have a quiet room if anyone needs a moment. It's room 2, and it's if you go towards the outside doors and take a left, it's right down the hall on your left-hand side. So feel free to have those moments with us too, though, because we're all having them. So I think that's it for now. John has graciously come to sort of officiate this service, and I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored. Hi.
And should
I
say
have
up
that
here?
effect on kids.
Say up here or no? Should I
I'm
stay
going to
up
say.
here? Should I?
You want to say it first?
No,
What do you say?
oh, should I stay up here?
Well,
Okay.
you're
I'll
going.
come back.
Okay. Could we bow our heads for a brief prayer, please? Gracious God, our loss has been your gain. You just got a really good human being who made a big difference in the world and improved the lives of so many others. He was a true friend to many, and he saw the good in nearly everyone. You blessed him with abundant gifts, and he did not waste them, using them to make his parts of the world a better place. None of us live forever, God, but we thank you for the 88 years we had with Harvey. We ask that you bless his family as they move forward. We ask that you bless his friends as they move forward. And thank you for the gift of Harvey's life. The world is a better place, and he is missed. He made a difference. Amen. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for coming. Harvey asked me to do this service years ago, and I was honored then, and I'm honored now, and I hope I do him right. So we are here this afternoon to celebrate the life of Harvey Pranian. Harvey was an original. I don't think I need to tell any of you that. He was a man of many parts. He was a man of many interests. He was a man of many talents and a man of many passions. As I read his wonderful obituary, and thank you, Katie and Susan, for putting it together. But as I read his wonderful obituary, I realized how little of his very rich and full life that I really knew. And I wish he hadn't been so doggone modest. And maybe that's why he asked me to officiate this gathering, this ceremony, because maybe he knew I would not be so modest as he was about him. He was an athlete. He's not a big man, you know that, but he was still captain of the football team. He was a three-sport guy. He was good at it. I played football with him in his 70s and my 60s, and he was still an awesome force. I will never forget that outing. He was a campus leader, and he eventually went into the ministry, as I think you know, with a heart for social justice, which found expression in being a minister on the south side of Chicago during a very violent race riot, and there he was in the middle of it. He was also a man who expressed his artistic side by making jewelry and writing poetry and probably many more things that I am simply not aware of. There's this international reputation as an antiques dealer and an antiques expert. His opinion was highly valued across the world, and his friendships obviously spread across the world because he was trusted. He was a man people liked to be friends with. And as his obituary said, Harvey had an impish sense of humor, and he and I, both ordained ministers, take great pleasure in poking fun at religion where religion needs to be poked fun at. And so I didn't do this on purpose, at least consciously, but maybe unconsciously I did. You can't see this, and I know it. I think Harvey would have liked this. It's a house with a sign in front, and normally it would say, "Beware of dog." But behind the house, looking out over the corner, is a huge head, and its sign says, "Beware of God." And Harvey and I talked a lot about the silliness of a lot of religion. We both agreed, and that was one of our bonding things. I hope he liked it. I also wore my shark socks this afternoon, thinking that Harvey would like that. So, most importantly, I think to him, Harvey was the creator and the driving force of young Evanston artists, Y-E-A, that for 39 years has helped Evanston's young people discover and explore their own artistic sides, and in that process become bigger and better and more fulfilled human beings as a result. He touched 30,000 kids, and that's maybe even a mild estimate. 30,000 kids, think about that. And many of them probably have pretty impactful lives right now because of the things that Harvey set in motion for them. And think of how that multiplies. It's an old saw to say the ripples in the pond, but I think it applies. I think Harvey started and fomented many ripples in the pond. Pretty great math, isn't it, to be able to do something like that? How do you do that multiplication? I don't know. So Harvey touched so many lives in his 88 years. And isn't that pretty much what we all want to do? I know it's what I want to do, and Harvey did it. He was a kind of low-key magic guy. He strode gently on the earth, and as a small man, nonetheless, his footprints were big, and his shoes are hard to fill. And then finally, in these prickly times that we're living in now, where meanness seems to be our social currency, I'd like to lift Harvey up as an avatar of somebody to be emulated. I think he's a wonderful role model. As I knew Harvey, he had a wicked sense of humor, but there was never any meanness in the man. No gotcha mentality that's so pervasive right now. He was a deep down good man who loved people in general and his friends and his family in particular. I think he just radiated joy, capital J joy. And it was a tonic for everyone around him. And I'm sure, beyond any question, that God is quite proud of Harvey Pranian. I think it is time for the eulogy. Katie? We have two eulogists. Nice.
I'm going to get my kid a better podium position. Here we go. All right. Okay, hold on, baby. I have this on my laptop. I've been working on this for a long time and basically scrapped a few of them and wrote one this morning. So here we go. Here goes a lot. Okay. Oops. Okay. So for most folks know I don't live in Evanston anymore. I did grow up here. And for those who haven't met me yet, I'm Harvey Pranian's daughter. My brother is out here as well. This is my daughter, Callie, my wife, Lisa. So I spent a lot of time at the lake here, as hopefully many of you have over the years. And this morning I was really called to walk along the lake, to just feel inspiration for what I might say today. So I set out walking from our Airbnb. I walked north along Sheridan Road, vividly recalling so many memories, playing football with my dad and my brother at Clark Square, trick-or-treating in Edgemere Court, where we scored dollar bills and whole candy bars. Laura, Karen, Hannah, remember all that, good times. Each beach going north held many fun childhood memories for me. The place that I was headed, there I wanted to stop to think about my dad. I stopped at the Church Street boat ramp. I walked out onto the floating dock and I laid down, closed my eyes so I could feel the gentle up and down motion, so very reminiscent of my summers, and in particular my summer sunrise mornings with my dad. These memories took place on hot summer mornings, and these are the ones that shine the brightest of all and will be with me the rest of my life. On those days, Dad would have already been to the park to see what the water looked like before waking me up to hear he would wake me up with like the water and the wind report. And the best forecast to hear was the water is like glass this morning. So I can't recall any occasion that I would have turned down that invitation. So off we would go to load up our ski boat. I learned all about lining up the trailer hitch and locking it down. He showed me how to back the boat off the trailer. Meanwhile, I was probably in middle school, maybe early high school. And how to ease the boat with finesse up to the dock and tie a proper knot. He taught me all about the trim and how to let the wake catch up with you without being lurched forward. He taught me about the wake speed as we left the harbor, and then when I could gun it out into the glinting, glassy water. Once out on the water, we would trade off pulling each other in the boat. He liked often to start on 2 skis and then drop one, and so I would keep my eye on that ski and circle back for it. Afterward, I would drive the boat up onto the trailer and into the bow while he pulled the boat out of the water. I'm so grateful that despite my age, he taught me how to do all of those things. He taught me so many things. Another in particular where I think of him, and this you'll all not be surprised about, is what I was really gifted with his eye. for lots of things, but in this instance, everywhere I go, if I see a picture that is like slightly off level, I very much have a hard time resisting the urge to write that painting. And I could be at the doctor's office or this church or anywhere, and I'm like, is this appropriate? Okay, maybe not. So for those of you who don't know more of my dad's early life, John did talk about it a little bit, but he grew up in Detroit, Michigan, into an extended Armenian family that was truly its own large, joyful, and loving community, and it still is. And his first cousins are here from Detroit today. Leslie, Nancy, Kim, Denny, you're not a cousin, but you're an adopted cousin, yeah. So his mother was one of 8 children, and she was brought through Ellis Island to the United States by their parents, who narrowly escaped the Armenian genocide. He was the golden boy in his family, one who most all of his cousins looked up to, so I've been told. He was a 3-sport athlete, captain, the quarterback of his football team. He played competitive tennis throughout his whole life, right up until he had his stroke, I think in 2000, possibly 18. And he played basketball with fury. My brother just confessed to me yesterday that he never beat our dad at basketball. He literally had like the strongest arm. And Nancy and Denny's son, Jordy, he was probably in middle school also, playing against my father, who showed no mercy. And my dad broke Jordy's tooth, his watch, and his braces. Yes. Oh, my dad's watch broke Jordy's braces. That's something to live for there. And I don't remember that story until recently. So for those of you who read his obituary or knew Harvey well, you will remember like that he could probably never resist a good prank. He did lots of pranks on April Fool's Day, but as a kid, he seemed to have a lot of pranks and, bad luck with cars pulling out of driveways and running over his friends, and chewing bubble gum because the kid punctured the lung, and that at the time was his treatment, was to get blow bubbles with your friends to strengthen your lungs. And I actually have a story that I'm going to let my dad tell you guys today, so here we go.
My friend David Glass, his father worked for Chevrolet, and his father was able to get the first Corvette that came off the line. It was a fiberglass body, and he allowed David to drive it. So David drives over one day, it was in the wintertime, and we took it down to the lake, got it on the lake, and drove around.
On the frozen
the ice
lake.
was thick enough so that the car wasn't going to break the ice.
What lake was this?
Union Lake.
I thought it was a different lake.
Sorry, my own
You said it was a different lake
shouting.
than your cottage.
Oh, that's true. It was called Island Lake.
Oh.
And we drove around. It was so cool because it was hard to, it took a while to get it going. And then you get it going, and all you'd have to do is turn the steering wheel a little bit, and then it would just slide sideways for about 20 or 30 feet.
Oh my gosh.
And then finally, when we were done messing around, we didn't even think about this. How are we going to get it off the lake? Because it came down a hill from our house to where the lake was.
Okay.
And
Did you have to go through
get
snow?
traction to get off the lake.
Right.
So we had to.
His dad didn't know.
I'm
you
a
guys were
terrible
doing-
interviewer in this story, so.
His dad probably had no idea you were doing that.
My mom.
No, his dad probably didn't know.
Oh, I'm sure. He never told his dad.
So how'd you get it off the lake?
We had to call and get a tow truck to come out with a long cable that went from the
How
top.
old were you guys?
Probably 14, 15. A long enough cable to go all the way from the top of where the house was, all the way down to the lake, and then hook it on something that was safe to hook on, and then drag it up.
Oh my God. And you guys told your mom?
Yeah.
Were you in-
Eventually we did, yeah.
But how did you guys how did you get a tow truck to come?
Yeah, go in my house
Oh.
and use the phone.
But did you tell your mom right away, or did you guys go and make the call?
We went and made the call.
How did you know who to call?
Just a gas station that had a tow truck.
Oh my God.
And we knew where it was. There was one just a half a mile away.
Were you guys scared shitless about getting in trouble? Or did you just think it was funny?
I don't remember if we were scared or not. I don't even think he ever told his parents either.
Oh my God.
Anyway, it goes on to say that the tow truck cost $5, and they did not care that they were 14-year-olds trying to get a brand new Corvette off the lake. So, what a time to live. So I will, I think I'm gonna probably wrap things up for the sake of others speaking. Just, most of you know that he really followed his dream, he followed his intuition, and it's something that I really admire him so much for. He always wanted me to go to art school, and it's one of those things to this day that I wish I had listened to him. I was very practical and was just afraid of taking a risk. You know, as I've reflected on my dad's life, I found myself thinking about how wonderfully complicated human beings are. We all arrive here carrying gifts and flaws, wisdom and blind spots, moments we're proud of and moments we wish we could do over. My father was no exception. He was brilliant in some ways and very frustrating in others, endlessly inspiring and very imperfect at the same time. But isn't that the story of being human? None of us are one thing. We're a collection of contradictions, lessons, triumphs, mistakes, and attempts to be loved and to love. So with that, I'm going to close the eulogy portion of this program, and thank you all very much for being here.
is the time for some special tributes from family and friends. So, Paul, if you were here, you are up.
My name is Paul Shanks. Harvey and I met in the spring of 1978. And by 1997, we were good friends who both enjoyed writing our thoughts, feelings, and musings on paper. Together, we signed up for writing workshops conducted by Deborah Cummins at her home in Evanston. In early summer, he wrote the following and sent me a copy of it, entitled A Place of My Own. I want a place of my own, some small perch where my casual humming will not be the bird song of someone else's wanting. I want a place of my own, a familiar place where my yellow daffodils can enjoy the beauty of their own living and dying. I want a place of my own, a safe place where the inner fragrance of my body can rest upon the pillow of my own breathing. I want a place of my own, a small stream where my weathered bones can be washed clean by nature's sinless cycles. I want a place of my own, a peaceful place where my soft prayers without words can rise to the sanctuary of their own belonging. I want a place of my own, a place of forgiving, where you and I can share the rose and thorn of earth's complete rapture. June 97, Harvey Pranian. On December 19th, at 1:44 p.m., he faxed this to me. For Paul, Christmas 1997. No one noticed. No one noticed when I barely touched your thigh as I sat down next to you at our recent meeting of poets and lovers. No one noticed how often we met at the food table, your hunger and mine, side by side, nourished by each delicious moment. No one noticed that the talk about work and art and vacation trips danced between us, making a constant loop between your lips and mine. And no one noticed when our eyes met privately, knowingly, willingly, in the small corners of conversation where good friends often meet. Lastly, I would like to thank specifically Katie and John for their loving work individually and as sister and brother to make all of this possible for all of us. This is what I came here to say. Thank you for listening.
Susan Larson. Small technical difficulty.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody put it someplace else. Yeah, I shouldn't have given it to somebody.
Katie, did you, when you left with the computer, did you take a manila folder with you?
Okay. Okay, well, wait. Let's bring up the next person and then
Okay.
we'll bring up the next person and somehow.
Okay. Did it end up in there?
While we're looking for the lost script, would Steph come up and do your tribute?
Who did I give it? Did I give it to you?
Yeah, it was right here.
Okay.
Harvey, Harvey, Harvey. Crazy, creative, amazing, beautiful energy. He saw art in everything, in people, in children, in nature, in history, in possibilities. Of course, he was an expert in the field of art and antiques and was an artist himself. Truly a divine spark for so many of us. I learned so much from him. I would never have come to admire and desire the remarkable objects created by our past generations, so seemingly miraculous functional antiques, treasures overlooked before. I would never have had 2 6-foot-long wooden bed springs hanging on my wall if not for Harvey. I would never have discovered outsider art, art created outside the mainstream by artists who were compelled to express themselves using whatever materials were available, without rules, without strategies or external goals. They created from an impulse of curiosity, from the heart, from the soul, an unquenchable desire to explore. Some of the works were done on cardboard, some were done on old window shades, or with found discarded objects. Harvey awakened my awe and fascination with these remarkable works, and he too was an outsider artist. I would never have imagined hanging beautiful wooden snakes carved from fallen tree branches on my wall until I watched Harvey work his magic and create such beauties himself. I would never have believed that I would frame wrapping paper on a gift. But yes, Harvey's packaging of gifts was often wild and fun, not just pretty paper with lovely bows. The wrapping was a work of art, spontaneous, exuberant, often hilarious and loving. One such wrapping is hanging on the wall in my house also. To be honest, I can't even remember what the gift was inside that package. I would never have focused deeply on the importance of art in child development until I assisted at a few of the Evanston Youth Arts Festivals. Harvey passionately reminded us that you must understand in your bones the fact that art is a catalyst for change, and that the art experience for children can have a huge formative influence in their lives, on critical thinking, on self-esteem, on academic achievement, on decision-making, and on each unique imagination. I would never have dreamed that after 27 years organizing the Evanston Art Festival, Harvey would generously take the time to come to Galena and coach a team of teachers, art enthusiasts, and local businesses to initiate and support a similar festival in our community. But of course he did. It was held at Chestnut Mountain and was an overwhelming success. Also, back in the day, Harvey had a shop on the main street of Galena, which featured jewelry he had made. And he and his family had a beautiful log cabin in the woods just outside of town. Over years, they made many, many friendships, and the Pranian fan club there lives on. I would never have come to love Bernie's Mountain Dogs. You may all be aware of that. And I never would have learned how to spit properly until I began jogging with Harvey. I would never have met so many great friends here in Evanston. So many blessings. The fantastic memories are endless. Thank you, Harvey.
Jake and Riley. And Paul, might you have picked up a manila folder when you left the podium? Thank you. Jake, why don't you come up now, and then we'll have Susan come up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jake. I'm Harvey's oldest grandson. When I was thinking about what I wanted to say today at the Celebration of Life, there are a lot of different ideas, but I prepared a short list of most memorable moments I had between me and my grandfather. They don't have any correlation with each other, but yeah, I'll just go. So for those who knew me from the ages 2 to 6, I had the biggest hyperfixation with horses, and it wasn't like a normal, like toddler loves farm animals. I loved horses so much that I wanted to be one. And I vividly remember galloping on all fours of Papa's studio apartment, and to make the bit even bigger, he would feed me carrots, and he would make me neigh and make horse noises to get them. So I'm really happy that he was kind of in on the joke. Another one that I really remember is the two of us were on a plane with him, and there was a peanut M&M on the floor, and I really wanted to eat it. And Papa gave me the look, and you know when he gives you the look, you know he's serious. He was like, Jake, don't do it. Also, it's important to note that I am allergic to nuts. So Papa did save my life on a United Airlines Boeing jet that day. One of my personal favorites was from Christmas 2015. My little brother Luke he was in his Mickey Mouse phase. He loved Mickey Mouse and Disney. And I don't know how he did it, but Christmas morning, we get a ring at the door, and I see like a yay big person dressed up in a Mickey Mouse costume. I don't know where we got the costume from, but I remember it made my little brother's Christmas twice as bright. And one that I vividly remember the most out of all is I was in a play when I was 14, and I remember Papa giving me a 5-minute standing ovation. And I was bowing, I was doing my thing, and I was like, okay, like, you can sit down now. And he was just like, he stood his ground, and obviously at the time I was embarrassed because I was a teenager and I hated everything. But looking back, that is like a perfect symbol of how Papa showed up for me, Riley, and Luke. He, as people echoed before, has been a big patron of the arts, and that was extended into both me and my siblings' pursuits of performing in visual art. He would come to every performance, every art gallery opening. He was our #1 supporter in whatever we wanted to do. Growing up Asian American, pursuing the arts is not the most accepted and celebrated thing in our community. So thank you, Mom, for breaking that pattern. And I want to end my speech off by giving my father his flowers, John. Seeing him sleep on standby to make sure my grandfather was okay, I know it was not easy for him, and it was not easy to watch. It was a very selfless thing to do, and you did it anyway, even though it was hard. I love you so much, and I think we can all learn from you on how to show up for people we love. So, thank you, everyone.
Hi, my name is Riley, and I'm Papa's oldest grandchild. For as long as I can remember, my life has been surrounded and defined by art. My Papa made sure of it. When I was 4, I would regularly visit Papa's antique shop in Evanston, where he would have this giant horse sculpture that he would always let me climb, even though he probably shouldn't have. When I was 6, I joined the Evanston Children's Choir. For years, we would perform at Yay, singing alongside the rest of the festival's program. There in the crowd would be my Papa, proud. When we moved to our current house when I was 9, we took the artwork we had with us, which my late grandma Dan painted herself, as well as an antique table, antique chairs, and other items from my Papa's array of historic items. In middle school, I attended my Papa's antique shows, standing behind the jewelry case, admiring the colorful, glimmering pieces. Of course, Papa would let me take my favorite ring home. My love for art came from my Papa. My Papa was a very proud man. He was incredibly proud of where his ancestors came from. He would tell me about Avidus Kazlarian, my great-great-grandfather, who fled the Middle East during the Armenian Genocide, leaving for the United States with his wife and children. He would tell me stories and show me pictures of Armenia, our family, and the sacrifices they had made. When my Papa got sick when I was in college, it was difficult to comprehend who he was, and who he had become was the same Papa that my memories were of. There was a time my cousin Eli was having a birthday party, and my Papa dressed himself in a head-to-toe Spider-Man suit. And I chose to be a princess, naturally, gown, crown, and all. While driving, we got pulled over in our costumes. The police officer was very confused. We would visit Galena often, where one of his first antique stores was, and the property where my dad and their family had their earliest memories. In Skokie, my Papa would come over for breakfast, and I would make omelets for everyone every single time. I loved my Papa very much, and I always will. I joke that Papa used to rank my family in order of his favorite, and I was always second. Jake was always first. My Papa was always worried about when I would get a boyfriend, or what the weather is like in New York, and when I would come to his apartment in Evanston to help him sign into Facebook. I have every single voicemail saved on my phone. Although his health was diminishing drastically for some time, it doesn't make the loss any easier. My Papa was a pillar in his community, a foundational figure in our lives, and someone who has taught me more than I could ever repay. Thank you.
Susan Larson.
Hi, I'm Susan Larson, and was in Harvey's life at the end for about 10 years, and just have been so thrilled to hear all the wonderful stories, all the experiences. We all knew and loved him in so many different ways. Harvey loved poetry. He read it, he wrote it, as Paul so beautifully read for us. He quoted it. One of his favorite poems was Mary Oliver, who he read and loved to quote often. One day when I was having a very hard time and feeling really down on myself, he quoted the poem Wild Geese to me. It was a true act of love and empathy, one I never forgot. To this day, this poem reminds me of Harvey and the deep and caring relationship we had. For this, I am truly grateful. And I think when I read it, you'll all feel the same way. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. And to honor Harvey, I want to read a poem that he wrote entitled Thank You Prayer. I think if he were here, I'm sure this is a poem he would want to read to all of us. Wise words and a promise here at the end of his life. Thank you, prayer. For regrets and mistakes, for failures and disappointments, for all the joys on the road to failed relationships, for going backward and sometimes going forward, and for sometimes standing hopelessly still. For moons and stars and leaves, and for the tiniest of creatures, for holding on and letting go, and for knowing when to do each. For unknown, unknowable things that awaken the mystery and wonder and magic of absolutely everything. To know this deep within is perhaps the promise of redemption. We'll miss you, Harvey. Rest in peace.
John and Luke.
The End by Harvey Pranian. Internal winters come to us on wings of spring, unexpected, unwanted, unforgiving, hurting the heart. But is it, by its own measures, gentle and just? My name is John Pranian. I'm the son of Harvey Pranian. I'd like to thank everybody for being here today, family, friends, coworkers, past and present. To be honest with you, I've struggled with preparing for today and the words I would say and use to describe my relationship and bond with my father. But all I know is this: from the moment I was born, I was shown nothing but love and welcome with open arms. As a young child, he was the hero in my dreams that chased the monsters away. He was my superhero. Can you imagine my dad running around with a cape on? He did that a couple times anyway, but yes. I believe if he was a superhero, his superpowers would have been vacuuming, and his arch enemies would have been dust balls and dog hair. For those that don't know, my dad loved his vacuums and used them well. As a teenager, when I tested his authority, and trust me, I tested his authority, he showed me nothing but patience and gave me the foundation to spread my wings. As a side note, I thank my children for being more like your mother and not like me and following her footsteps in that regard. As a young man, he was my guidance counselor and my source of wisdom, and the person I could always go to. When I became a husband and a father, he was always in my corner, giving me advice whether I wanted it or not, but needed it. So I have a million reasons to be proud of my father. My proudest moment, though, is right now when I can say to you, my name is John Pranian. I'm the proud son of Harvey Pranian, always have been and always will be. In closing, there's only one other person in my life who I admire and look up to as much as my dad, and maybe even a little bit more. Because the moment this person was born, I became a better person, a better husband, and a better father, and a better friend. It would honor me today if my son Luke would come up and finish my speech for me. Come on up, buddy.
Thank you, player, for records and mistakes. Thank you, player. Harvey Pranian is celebration of life, and celebration of life means celebrating Papa. Papa died on March 30th, 2026, for the celebration for life of feelings or unexpected and unbelieving for unfeeling for celebration of life and to funeral celebration of life after death. Harvey Pranian celebration of life was today, and celebration of life is called funeral of heaven of death celebration. Unwanted, unforgiving, and unacceptable, hurting the heart of celebration of life of Harvey Pranian.
Good job.
Thank you, player.
That's it. Hey, Mumble, Papa, a kiss? A little kiss? Say thank you.
Thank you, player.
Thank you.
Wow. What a perfect way to end that particular part. Thank you. So we have a short biographical tape of Harvey.
The unfamiliar road could be the same place you get lost and find yourself. There might be bumps, there might be bruises, but at least you'll have a story to tell. Time will slip on by if you're stuck here living life with too much caution. And I know you know that those wings, they were made for walking. Always safe where you are, but safe only gets you so far. What if you look your fears right in the eye? Say you'll see them another time. What if for once you can find a piece of you that you've been hiding? You've been hiding. What if you chase your heart out to the edge? Rewrite your stars and be brave instead. What if you jump and the falling feels a little like you're flying, like you're flying? Oh my darling, if you try, you just might kiss the sky. Ideas coming to you like a spark that starts a fire in your mind. But ideas can only burn you if you always keep them locked up inside. Time will slip on by if you're stuck in living life with too much caution. So go out in this world and get every single thing you ever wanted. Oh, it's safe where you are, but safe only gets you so far. What if you look your fears right in the eye? Say you'll see them another time. What if for once you can find a piece of you that you've been hiding? You've been hiding. What if you chase your heart out to the edge? Rewrite your stars and be brave instead. What if you jump and the falling feels a little like you're flying, like you're flying? Oh my darling, if you try, you just might kiss the sky. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, rolling like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Minus lady, stranger to the water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste and moon. country roads.
Mama, take this badge from me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Oh, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama, put my guns in the ground. I can't shoot them anymore. That cold black cloud is coming around, and I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. It feels like I knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. It feels like I'm knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Whoa, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Feels like a knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama, tell me, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Feels like I'm knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Whoa, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Whoa, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Feels like I'm knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
We will have, well, for my look at the world, Amazing Grace, and I think that is, for my part, the most perfect hymn ever written. So, Amazing Grace.
my fears relieved. How precious deed that grace appear the day I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. Was grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will bring me home.
I don't know about you, I wish Harvey had been here to see this. I mean that. I think he would have loved every part of it, even especially the parts where he got laughed at. He was that kind of guy. I know this is going to sound very strange at a memorial service, but I do have a favorite part of memorial services and funerals, and it is this: when the sharing takes place, the stories that you told, the human element of what Harvey was all about is just stunning. And I want to thank you all for fleshing out, for me, and I think probably for all of you, parts of Harvey you did not know and wish you had. So I would like to end my part of this with a reading. Well, it's the eulogy that this audience is old enough to remember Adlai Stevenson and Eleanor Roosevelt. Most of you. Adlai Stevenson delivered the eulogy at Eleanor Roosevelt's funeral or memorial. It applies to her. I think it applies to Harvey equally. We are always saying farewell in this world, always standing at the edge of a loss, attempting to retrieve some human meaning from the silence, something which is precious and gone. We are lonelier. Someone has gone from our own life who is like the certainty of refuge, and someone who is gone from the world is like the certainty of honor. Amen. For the family, thank you for coming, and we will now have lighting of the candles.